So here we are this morning at testing the all-new Yamaha Tracer 9 GT, bit of a mouthful. So this is kind of right in that mid-range touring bike. So Yamaha's tried and tested MT09 motor in it, and it's a lovely smooth motor, I've got to say. I've ridden for about an hour or so this morning, and yeah, first impressions, it's a really nice thing. It's got KYB electronic suspension, the Nissan brakes on it. So nice components. It's a $24,990 purchase in Australia. So not a cheap bike. You know, it's getting up there, but then the last couple of years, unfortunately, as we all know, most bikes have gone up a fair way. The ergonomics on it, really nice. You sit in, you feel surrounded. I'll show you when we do bit of a clip on the bike, but you certainly feel surrounded in it. Feels nice and light. The motor is super smooth, so that was the first impression. Suspension's really nice, especially when you're jumping on the brakes in terms of anti-dive and that. It's done a really nice job. It doesn't tend to, you know, really squash down when you're hard on the brakes. Instruments are interesting. It's got this, I'll come around the other side, it's got this double dash setup, you can probably see there. I think it'll take a little bit of getting used to. So you tend to, the one on the left's the Speedo Taco, and that tends to be what you're watching most of the time. So lots of modes. Have a look at some of the instrumentation here, the clusters on it. So yeah, you've got electronic cruise control, which works fantastic, and yeah, I was really impressed with that. Just behind there, if you can see, there's a mode switch for changing. So you've got you can change your traction control, your engine mode that you're in. Yeah, so yeah, pretty impressed with it so far. Yep, other side's fairly straightforward. You have got your menu button, which predominantly seems to control this. As I say, I haven't played with it a lot. One thing you will notice, and I'll show you when we ride on, it feels really wide. You get your legs tucked under. You do feel like you're in the bike, and you sit quite low. So centre of gravity is really nice. So yeah, look, first impressions, pretty good. Let's go and we're just about to get some nice twisty roads you can probably see up ahead, so we'll give it a bit of a squirt, and it's pretty bumpy in that, so it gives the suspension a bit of a workout for a road bike. But again, some nice features, you know, running nice Bridgestone Battle Axe tyres on it, so they haven't scrimped on any of that stuff. Give you a good look down there, decent set of brakes. So some, yeah, and the finish quality on it, fit and finish, looks really good. So yep, it's the sort of bike that so far you get on it, easier to ride and fun with a fair bit of grunt. As I said, a little bit of a back road, bit bumpy. Really nice thing actually, very easy to flick around. So first impressions are really good where, you know, you can turn in. The brakes are interesting, you get very little, like that tight corner, you get very little dive on it. It tends to just sit nice, and so that's that KYB electronic suspension. Before, when I was on some stuff that was a bit faster and flowing, you tended to find that depending on the mode you've got it in, it could be a little bit wallowy, but you just change that mode and it settled right down and tracked nice. So you've got the option. I got it on reasonably firm at the moment, which probably on this road is not great, yeah, I had it on the softest setting and it's just cruising along. As I say, you get to a long, you know, corner where you're getting a bit of lean on it, and you would find it would just sort of start to float a little bit through there, and I changed the mode, and you know, within milliseconds it was nice and firm, tracked really nice. So I think that's a nice combination for a bike like this, you know, that you're planning on doing a fair few miles touring and that on. It's nice to have the option of going, look, I want it to be comfy, but then, you know, at the same time I want it to squirt past there, I want it to you know, turn in the corners and handle nice when I feel like having a squirt. So yeah, it's interesting in that sense. So I do like the electronic suspension, and you know, for the price point of the bike, it's the sort of stuff it needs to come with. And yeah, don't know if you can see looking down at the bike, I really love it's got that big wide shape of the tank, which is a very kind of European, you know, if you look at some of the Ducatis, some of the MV Augustas that I've owned, you know, they've got that, and you always feel like you're kind of wrapped in the bike. It's a very secure feeling, and you know, if you put a grip pad, if you're into riding a bit harder, you're really going to get some good purchase on the tank when you're cornering. Yeah, as I say, I think the dash will take me, I'm not a Yamaha guy normally, so haven't ridden a lot of them, so I think that will take me a little while to get the hang of and get used to. But look, it's got everything, and you can, looks like the right hand side with a bit of playing around, you can do a bit of programming to what you want the display to be. So this morning I just made sure I brought up the fuel gauges there, and you know, make sure we got plenty of fuel for today. So yeah, I think other than that, you know, and I think like most brands, they're all got their idiosyncrasies when it comes to, you know, the way they place all the switch controls and that. But you ride the thing for a few days and you're soon going to get the hang of it, you know. But it's got a nice note when you push it along, you know. And one thing I will say, the screen does an amazing job of buffeting the wind. So I've got my adventure bike helmet on this morning just because it's got the camera on it, and you know, we're doing 110 zone before, you're not getting any buffeting. So, and I could probably you know, 177 centimeters or 5'10", so I think you could comfortably 6'2", 6'3" before your head, you know, if I really sit up, might start to pop out and get a bit of wind buffeting. But no, and the screen does a really great job, so it'll be a pretty relaxing, you get nothing on your chest, so if you're doing a lot of miles in a day, it's going to be a pretty relaxing ride. Yeah, I think I made the point before, I do like the fact that you sit lower, you know, you sit like you're in a proper road bike, you feel like you're wrapped around the tank and your butt's pretty low, and the seats, I mean, it's nice and firm, you know, so I wouldn't say it's the most comfortable, but it's not horrible either. The passenger seat, so the pillion seat, if you've got a partner and you put them on there, it's probably the softest seat I've ever seen. So Yamaha have gone out of their way to make sure that whoever your close friend is going to have a nice time. I think what's not on the bike this morning that I should point out, I think in Australia that price point, it also comes with panniers that match the bike, so that's kind of nice. It's all set up, just ready for you to go. The electronic cruise control is fantastic. I'll put it on actually, but I had it going through, I wanted to check the motor, going through a 60 zone in 6th gear with the cruise on, perfectly smooth, almost no vibration, really nice. The motor did an amazing job. And then you come out of that to 110 and just roll it right on, and it was just linear, no flat spotting in there, you know, really nice fueling, so not jerky at all. So they've done a really great job with getting the fueling right on the bike. And as I say, you've got the option of, you know, make it an angrier bike, change the modes. So yeah, but you know, for this sort of ride, these sort of roads like that, a bit bumpy, it just soaks it up, does it really nice. You could ride this thing, the Ergonomics, all day. Very easy to move the line of the bike around wherever you want to be, you know, just very flickable. So, you know, you go here, I want to hit the apex, get in there and nail it, you know. So yeah, it certainly is easier to float around, easier to dance around. So look, depending on what you're used to riding, it's got really nice torque. It's not a torque monster. It's not, you know, when you get into the really big 12, you know, 100cc bikes and stuff, the big V twins, that you've got that big hit off the bottom. But, you know, 5th, 6th gear, you roll it on, it's certainly got plenty of pull. So it's a really nice balanced motor. And I think that's pretty, you know, a lot of the triples are like that, where, you know, they love to rev. They've got a good mix of, you know, torque and power. But yeah, so you're not going to complain about it. You know, you can be in 6th gear doing 110. You know, I did that before. Want to pass a truck, you roll on, you're past in no time. It's not like you're shuffling back through the gears like you would be, you know, on some bikes. So it's just, you know, it doesn't absolutely hit you at the bottom end like you might on a, you know, 1200. But, you know, when you come out here and you go, let's give it a bit of a squirt. You know, that's really a nice amount of power. Quick shift works really nice. The tyres on it are really nice. they certainly help me to just hold that line, you know. It's good that they haven't gone, you know, cheaper on that. Those Battle Axe are a nice tyre for this type of cruising touring bike, and like that, you hear and you just feel like you can really track beautifully on the line. No, all in all, the more I ride it, the more I'm getting impressed by it. You know, and one thing I'll say, I think over the years Yamaha have done a really good job of lifting the build quality standard. Things like the levers are getting nicer, the mirror brackets, the switch blocks, so that sort of stuff. You know, I think they've, over the last 5 years or so, yeah, I have seen a noticeable difference where they're just, you know, getting up there. It's definitely the sort of bike, you know, you could just jump on and go, hey, I'm going to ride around Australia. Throw the panniers on, a soft bag on the back, you know, and you'd have a lot of fun doing it. You know, you get into these kind of nicer, twistier roads, you get a chance to have a play. And then, you know, on the really long stuff, set the cruise control, put it in 6, ultra smooth, ultra nice. Yeah, you know, and if you really want, you get the thing right over, start getting your knee down on it. It just handles lovely, just say. Yep, really nice work. Good work, Yamaha. I think one of the advantages a bike like this might have is the guy who goes, look, I've only got space for one bike. I like riding on road. I've got space for one bike. You know, the adventure bike market's taken off, but if you don't ride on the dirt, you know, this is a lot easier bike. It's lower to sit on, better balanced on the road, got the 17-inch wheels, so much better handling. So, you know, you go, this is the one bike if you want that could do it all. It's a really nice squirt bike. You could easily commute to work on it all day, and as I say, throw the panniers that come with it on it and load it up. You go around Australia. You know, I think it's got a pretty good range tank wise. You know, it's not a cheap bike, but then, you know, these things, Yamaha got that reputation. This will run forever. You know, it's going to be bulletproof. And I think the more you ride it, the more you start to enjoy it. Particularly that combination of the really good ergonomics, the good suspension, and that really nice Yamaha triple motor, really smooth, beautiful motor. Doing this, like, couldn't be nicer, could it? Out riding in the hills on a day like this. Yeah, I've been riding it now for a good hour or two, and I think the one thing that's going to take me a fair bit of getting used to would be the dash. The speedo tacho side of it's fine, but some of the modes and that, they're really quite small to read, and they're not super bright. So, you know, again, once you've ridden it for a while, you probably get the hang of that. But yeah, just as coming from different bikes that probably have got, you know, maybe a higher spec, and they are European bikes that cost a lot more, but you know, where you're seeing a much brighter dash to be able to read. So yeah, that's probably my one criticism of it at this point in time. Nice things, not that you need it today, beautiful sunny day, but standard with heated grips, so you're not going to have to spend any money, you know. And Yamaha do really good deals. I think they're probably half the price of some of the other brands. If you want to put on a Acropovic exhaust or whatever, I think they do a discounted program, so you see a lot of Yamahas running around. Then you got to balance out, you know, do you want a really noisy exhaust if you're doing a lot of touring, you know, but they do sound good. So yeah, I just want to say a huge thanks to Jared and the guys at Savage Motorcycles out in Midvale. They have just added Yamaha recently, which I'm pretty excited about, because I think over the next couple of months I'm going to test ride 6 or 7 of them, put some videos up and just give you my general thoughts. So yeah, it's nice when you can go somewhere and actually get to ride, you know, in that case it's a Yamaha or a KTM or a Suzuki. You know, you've got a choice there of bikes, gas, you know, that you can sort of compare side by side and go, what do I prefer? Because, you know, often you ride one bike and then 2 or 3 days later you go and ride its competitor, and it's really hard to do that side by side comparison. So yeah, thanks to the guys, really good guys to deal with, and I appreciate letting me get out and have a play with some of the bikes for them. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I've had a great time out here riding it. And yeah, if you're looking for a road bike that you can tour on, you can have a squirt on, you can commute on, then you might want to go and have a ride of the new Yamaha Tracer. It is a fun little toy. So thanks guys.